You done a pod before?
No.
No?
First time.
Yeah, it's great. It'll be good. Don't worry about
Let's
it.
go. First time.
Yeah. If I need to break out the tequila, I mean, if I gotta break it out, I'll break it out. I'm not kidding.
Maybe tonight. Well, maybe tonight we will for
Okay.
sure.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tech 1-2 podcast. I'm super psyched today. We have a special guest from Arctic Wolf in the studio today talking about cybersecurity. So let's get started.
Don't turn around. What?
Where do you come from? Where'd you come from? Canis lupus. Vulpus vulpus. I don't think he speaks English or Latin. I have a phobia of wolves. What a beautiful creature. Wish him luck, boys.
Good luck out there.
So we have Lindsay Moser and Mike Hoeffel from Arctic Wolf in the studio. Can you do a quick introduction on you?
Yeah, thanks. Lindsay Moser, Arctic Wolf, MSP Partner Development Manager across the country. I came from an MSP prior to Arctic Wolf, so I'm glad I get to share the seat with you today, John.
Fantastic. Thanks for being in. Mike?
And I'm Mike Hoeffel. I'm the account rep at Arctic Wolf covering Chicago. And I was involved in hockey before getting into tech about 3 years ago. So I'm enjoying the transition and awesome to meet people like you.
Awesome. To what level of hockey?
Played pro for 10 years.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's a shift from sports to cybersecurity, but so excited to have you both in the studio today, especially with the topic of cybersecurity, that it's something that we know every business should be considering or looking at it from a cybersecurity perspective, but being partners with Arctic Wolf has really enhanced how we deliver services to our client. So what are you seeing in the market today from a cyber perspective, especially with the type of clients that and partners that you're supporting?
Well, I think initially, right, it's a huge shift in the threat landscape. You think back to, some of your clients you've had for a long time, right? Even 5-10 years ago, what you were selling then is much different than what you're selling now, and how you're guiding them along their security journey, right, has increased. So we're seeing this dramatic shift from, no longer the days of firewall and antivirus, right, and even upgrading to an EDR, right? Even the endpoint is not enough, and there's a huge focus on the endpoint, as it should, and these EDR, XDR type companies that are providing services. But you're seeing breaches at an all-time high. MSPs are trying to help their clients how to look beyond the endpoint. And I see that as kind of looking into this upcoming year, where we'll see kind of a shift where there's been such a focus on the endpoint the last few years. And that's great. And it's helped kind of get people that were the low hanging fruit up a notch. But it's just not enough anymore. So how do you look beyond the endpoint and get more of a robust, holistic coverage to find threats faster, right? So I think that's going to be a huge shift. That's what we're seeing with our current customer base and our partners, and I think where we're going to be seeing it in 2024 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike?
Yeah, and I guess from my end, I think something that sticks out is just the heightened awareness that I've spoken to, or the heightened awareness that the clients that I talk to are expressing. Just something that comes to mind as an example is, I'd say in the last maybe 9-10 months, the amount of discussions I've had where my clients are saying, someone down the hall from us had a breach, or someone in my industry had a breach, or I had a buddy that their company got breached, and just kind of how everybody's hearing of their peers or someone in their network having an incident, and hearing how horrifying or just how terrible the experience is that their relationship they have with these people have gone through, experiencing that and not having wanting to go through that themselves. So, and to Lindsay's point, just I think the evolution in the way security is looked at by not only the IT managers and the people in, on the day-to-day grind of IT, but even the C-level executives, right? It's business risk. It's risk to your business, and looking beyond just the traditional tools. I think that cybersecurity was looked at before, and now, like you said, the broad picture, being able to ingest all these different forms of telemetry to help keep all these organizations and their employees safe.
Your safety is my responsibility, and Mr. Dell's, but he's...
I oftentimes ask clients, and it isn't a trick question, but I ask them, how many doors or windows do you need to have unlocked or open in your house to be burglarized? And they think about it for a second. The reality is just one to be burglarized. But if you can catch those things very early on, why wait? That's a great analogy and way to put it. I think that really brings it down to layman's terms, is to protecting it. And through the endpoint, though, when we look at a holistic approach, Mike, you mentioned telemetry. I mean, what exactly does the telemetry piece of it, and how does that really impact the overall improving the overall security posture?
Yeah. One call out too about just this endpoint conversation that I think really resonates with a lot of the clients I talk to is it's imperative to have good endpoint protection, right? We all know that. But the bad guys aren't thinking, let's go try to exploit their most protected area, right? Mm-hmm. So to your point about the different sources of telemetry, they're thinking about how else can I get in from the side angle, right? They're not going to go after and try to possibly get in the most protected area, right?
To your point, right? Where we're seeing is the endpoint is only the start of a threat 15% of the time. So what are you doing with the other 85%? Most organizations are largely unaware that a threat could even get in that way.
Yeah.
And, the different sources of telemetry, I think why that's important is just in a number of examples that I've had discussions with is, maybe a client does have a SIM, mm-hmm. right? Or maybe they have another MDR solution or something. But my number one question every time is, what all are they taking in? Are they ingesting your firewall logs? Are they ingesting your server logs? Are they ingesting your endpoint logs? Are they ingesting your whatever presence you have in the cloud, whether it's O365, Google Workspace, AWS, Azure? Are they ingesting your MFA, right? Are they ingesting all these different possible attack vectors that you have? And if they're not, those are gaps. Mm-hmm. And you talked about it. How many windows do you want to leave open, right? Like, those are possible gaps in which it only takes one time, right?
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Is there an attack vector that you're seeing? Is it, the user? Is it, what are we seeing?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, right, our employees, right, the users are the best asset for a company, but mm-hmm. it's also the weakest link from a security. Mm-hmm. So we are seeing a bigger shift now on end user training. Yeah. That is something that the smaller end of that SMB space have kind of been putting off largely due to cost. Yeah. And now I think folks are seeing it more as a necessity instead of a want. But it is continuing to be a kind of the limited factor.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a statistic that says 90% or just north of 90% of all breaches kind of can originate from end user mishaps, right? So the importance of employee education and training and phishing simulations and, you can put all these different tools in place, right? You can make all these investments, but the one thing you can't control is the decisions that your people make. Mm-hmm. They're unpredictable, and it's tough that, you can spend all this money, but you never know what your employees will do. So the importance of having a robust solution that creates a culture of security, that hardens your human firewall to help educate good security hygiene for your people is something that we've certainly seen. Because
to get a little more specific to that, where we're seeing kind of the biggest shift is around MFA. The most popular attack on the people is MFA fatigue.
Oh,
right? So, having training that focuses on that, right? There's lots of big examples in the news, right? The Uber breach was an MFA fatigue issue too. So making sure your clients are aware of that and do it, we're trying to help our partners get that point across and help them make their clients more secure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the MFA fatigue, we've seen that as a huge attack vector, and it's, we understand that our users, staff, they're pulled in many different directions. All these attackers are looking for just an opportunity, a window of opportunity. You're at work, you're traveling, you're distributed, you're going to your kids' baseball games, football games, you're all over the place, but you're always connected. And it's the MFA fatigue that it just seems like organizations feel that they have MFA and they're protected, which we know that's still phish prone, MFA. But yeah, the fatigue piece of it, it's, they'll accept a push notification when it wasn't them logging in and assuming that, it must be my system that's logging me in, and they're approving that. And then it's the bad actor has access to everything that they, all their accounts. That's, they're always they're not very sophisticated.
Right.
You just got to get in.
Yeah, MFA is not bulletproof, and it's great to have. You certainly need to have it. But circling back to what I kind of touched on earlier is having an MDR solution that's going to ingest your MFA logs. Because what if somebody does get through, right? And being able to catch that right away and lock a device down or whatever it might be if someone does get through on an MFA bomb.
So let's talk a little bit more, even just the having all the telemetry and access to all the logs. Oftentimes, again, there's this false sense of security. Organizations will implement certain solutions. As we mentioned earlier, there's an effectiveness problem. So someone puts in an MDR solution, they have a SIM, but they're missing those gaps. How do organizations, have you seen that it's been most successful to even inventory what they have to know what they need to monitor?
I don't even know where to start. You guys want to help me clean up it real quick?
So where we've seen the success is where our MSP partners are trying to offload some of that work or free up some of maybe the other security work so the IT folks have more time to try to do that. Or some MSPs are increasing their services portfolio to help with just that asset inventory or helping them create a more robust vulnerability management program. So that is one thing too, right? When 0 days get announced, how do you know if you're affected? And if you are affected, what do you do to solve those, right? And that's where Arctic Wolf can provide security bulletins, right, on these new threats that come out. But we really rely on you as the MSP to help close those gaps for the clients.
Yeah, those have been fantastic. I mean, the notices and making sure that teams are subscribed to notifications and understand what's happening. Obviously, Arctic Wolf is ingesting a significant amount. I don't even know what the size is. Maybe you do. But the amount of data that you're ingesting on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So you're capturing all this intelligence, but being able to provide those insights to the SMB. Even mid-market and enterprises still need that information, but being able to feed that and rely on it as accurate and is very valuable to an organization.
Yes, and I mean, this right, from helping your clients and shore up their gaps, right? Is some of the still today some of the biggest way threat actors are getting in are for unpatched vulnerabilities, right?
Yep.
And how can we do that, right? Our Arctic Wolf has an incident response team as well that unfortunately has to help these clients right after they've been breached. And some of the stats that we're seeing now are kind of staggering. In the first half of 2023, when we pulled our team, our IR arm saw a 46% increase in ransomware cases from them. So that's pretty staggering. And then then from there, the ransom demand has went up 43% from last year. And if you think of the SMB market, and when we pulled our IR stats, it was with SMB of under 1,000 employees. 80% of the victims that had data leaked were in the SMB space.
Oh, wow.
So it's very important, right, to close all the windows, lock all the doors, catch people when they're coming on in the yard, right? As many of those things as we can. but shoring up the vulnerabilities and or in some cases with the SMB is how do they create a vulnerability management plan even to start with, right? A lot of companies we're seeing are trying, maybe, do an annual pen test. That's great, but that's not a true management plan, right, for vulnerabilities. So we see some that are trying to do quarterly point-in-time scans, which is a start, but then when you're getting the hundreds of pages of vulnerabilities, like where do you even start? And you don't have enough time. So we are seeing a shift from that point, kind of getting away from the point-in-time scans and doing more of the continuous vulnerability scanning by default to keep up with those, right? Help those critical SLAs for the critical vulnerabilities, right? Keep those SLAs down as fast, get them fixed as fast as possible.
Yeah. One thing that I think is kind of a cool element of Arctic Wolf that I love to educate our clients on is, Arctic Wolf is our own proprietary technology, right? And when it comes to vulnerabilities and our abilities to continually advance in detection and response capabilities, being that it's our own proprietary technology, for example, maybe what we see in customer one's environment, right? That we see as malicious or suspicious, something crazy, we solve for that, right? We add that intelligence back into our platform, right? To then protect against the additional, 6,000 plus customers or whatever it is that we have. So if you can imagine on a day-to-day basis what we're seeing in, customer 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera's environment maybe, right? That we see as malicious or suspicious and then solve for that, add that intelligence back in when it comes to, different things that we see out in the wild, vulnerabilities, whatever it might be. I think it just speaks volumes to our ability to continually advance in the detection and response capabilities to keep our customers safe. And I think that's something that's different from just when you talked about an effectiveness issue with just tools, right? Mm-hmm. That's just something that tools alone would never be able to accomplish. So I think that's kind of fun call out.
I mean, it's amazing intelligence that you're capturing. It's about early detection, similar to health, right? Early detection, and something that's going to be critical to you is you're going to be better off in getting that early detection. We talk a little bit about we hear left a boom, right a boom, what happens, and everybody wants to. There's so much focus about right a boom, what's going to happen on the right a boom, and how we're going to respond to it, but preparedness and having a good plan in place. How does Arctic Wolf really get involved in that?
So, I'm glad you brought that up, John. We're really looking at both left a boom and right a boom, right? Because you put those together, right? What's the likelihood an incident will occur? And then what's the impact if an incident does occur? So how we think about risk is you need both sides of those to really look at your total cyber risk. What is the total risk of the organization?
You have to weigh the risk.
No security company should ever be saying that they will 100% guarantee you will never get breached, right? That would be unethical, right? There's too many 0 days and things that are unknown. However, I think there can be a lot more done on the risk transfer side. If something does happen, then what? How can your partners, right, put their money where their mouth is, when they partner with you, help your clients if something does happen? So Arctic Wolf is really focusing on the risk transfer piece. Yes, we have the really good things on the preventative side. We have really good technology. We're helping MSPs consolidate and make it more efficient for their clients. We have a lot of people, right? We have a huge SOC team. We're doing all the really great things there. And now you'll see more in 2024 on the risk transfer, on insurance. You're probably filling out a lot of questionnaires for your clients.
Ton of them.
Too many.
Yeah, right. On the insurance side, a couple things are happening. One, if one of your clients wants to get cyber insurance, it's getting tougher and tougher for them to even qualify.
Exactly.
Two, if they do have insurance, their rates are going up. And three, some clients have to drop their insurance because it's going to be too expensive. So, none of that stuff is good. How can Arctic Wolf help, right? So we're working directly in the insurance, brokerage community to help our clients get preferred rates, right? And in case something does happen, you can, as an Arctic Wolf partner, right, your clients are going to be able to get affordable insurance. So that's one thing we're focusing on. How do our clients get affordable insurance, right? And the coverage that they need, right? We saw a lot of insurances reducing coverage, right? Pulling the ransomware clause out of there. Like, how do we help our clients just be safe that way, right? The other thing are warranties, right? You hear a lot of warranties. A lot of companies have different warranties out there. A lot are not focused on the MSP space. You have to have a lot of endpoints to qualify typically for that. So Arctic Wolf is, how can we help our MSPs that are going to maybe have a 10-user client? How can we still offer them a warranty, right?
Yeah.
The other thing would be incident response. If something does happen, right, we want to be there to help pick up the pieces and put a plan together. So with us, incident response is how can we be proactive, right, and have a plan and help our partners help their clients to generate a good IR plan, right? Because there's a majority of SMB clients do not have a updated IR plan. That gets back to one of your earlier questions on asset management. How do you just know even what assets you have, right? What devices you have? That's something that we can help with there. And a lot of it is probably not your client's fault, right? There's not really a good SMB focused IR retainer on the market right now. A lot of them are really expensive. They come with a block of hours that probably not going to be used. And they don't have a lot of ROI up front, right? So that's where another area that Arctic Wolf is really helping, and specifically in the SMB space with our MSP partners. That's where we're expecting a big growth path this year, is helping clients get that. Because, right, that's where we can help a 10-user client that might not be ready for MDR, might not be in a compliant industry that requires MDR, but they want to be protected if something does happen because they're still a target. This is a lower cost option that our MSPs can offer that is going to really tie into your security roadmap for your client and kind of be maybe a first step as they're looking to get other things more secure.
So that is an a la carte option then?
Correct.
Nice. That's great. I mean, it's, every organization, well, one thing we know is there's no discrimination on the type of organization that can be impacted by a cyber attack. It's, oftentimes you would hear that, pre-cyber related incidents, it was, the only companies that felt that they would could be burglarized was anybody who dealt with cash, right? The banks, the restaurants, the convenience stores, those were then you added the cyber, anybody with a digital presence, even the neighborhood flower shop can be victimized by a cyber criminal. I love how you put that, the risk mitigation. You can't eliminate the risk. The things that we do, it's all about mitigating the risk of a cyber attack. And anybody who is guaranteeing 100% security, you should probably shy away from anybody.
Run the other direction.
That's just not.
Get in the car, kids.
For me, cyber insurance has been like a huge driver for a ton of my clients. And I think we touched on it, but like, knowing that the people who deal with money in organizations, right, they love hearing all you can save, and this is a huge area where we're able to help with that, and I've seen it day in and day out. So really, whatever is left, transferring that, so we're covering that total risk of your environment, and I think that's something that's differentiating, at least, and something that I think a lot of our clients have seen value in.
Well, and you mentioned it, right, the sea level. I've been at Arctic Wolf 4 years at this point, and looking back when I first started, most of our conversations were with IT directors, right, or the IT person doing the work. And now what we're seeing is that we're finally to a spot where the C-level cares about risk, and the C-level used to be maybe just the point in the road that we had like a hurdle we had to jump over, and now we're running in tandem next to each other and on the same page with lowering risk, right? Now the C-levels are held responsible if a breach does happen on their watch. Did they do everything possible? Is their plan, would that be defensible? Right? So we're seeing a lot more buy-in now from the C-level, more than we ever had before, which is great. it's the risk transfer piece that is really helping our teams get there. Yes, we still have the initial conversations with the IT folks to get their buy-in on our strategy and our philosophy and the services that we provide, but it's talking to the C-level about risk and how much risk are they comfortable with, and ultimately they're the ones that will give the green light, and that is what's helping our MSPs to finally have something that will talk to the C-level as a standalone solution like incident response or as a total package of total risk, right? So that's I think we'll see more and more growth there.
Yeah, I love the awareness. I mean, we are seeing more C-levels get behind, building an overall good security posture and security culture within organizations. You mentioned the cyber piece, the cyber liability, and the insurance piece of it as being a big driver. We're seeing the same thing. 7 years ago, getting a cyber liability insurance was literally checkbox on your policy, and there was no underwriting. And now every year when the underwriting happens on all these policies, they're getting longer and longer. And there are so many companies that are uninsurable just based on their current security posture, but premiums have skyrocketed. And I believe last year, and I may be misstating a percentage, but last year in 2023, cyber insurance companies actually, they want to maintain a certain loss ratio of the policies, and they have an acceptable number. And I believe it in cyber liability, it actually reached 75% loss ratio, which is too high. We know insurance companies are making a lot of money. I don't feel bad for them. But because of that, they have a certain risk that they need to be able to manage. And now it's becoming that underwriting is the opportunity to determine either skyrocket that price of their policy and premium or just make them uninsurable entirely. And that's driving a lot of risk management for organizations.
Motivation is motivation.
Well, I really appreciate having you both in the studio today. Any closing remarks, anything for the audience before we sign off today?
No, thanks for having us. It's we really value such wonderful partnerships like ours here with EMPIST, and this has been great being here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, fantastic. So thank you for tuning in to our latest podcast. Be sure to tune in next time. Thank you once again to both of you for being in the studio. Much appreciated. Love the partnership and can't wait to see what the future holds for us. Thank you.
Same here. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.